Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. You know what time it is. My favorite time of the week. It's the activation hour. It's me, your girl, Melissa D, and we are back as we're coming to the close of season 3, our season of unlearning. And man, I tell you, every week just gets bigger and better, and we start unpacking more and more lessons that we're unlearning. And so I just want to welcome you as we're recording our live featured guest interview. If you're catching the replay, make sure you take a moment to just go ahead and subscribe. If you're just coming on live, welcome to the Activation Hour podcast. I'm your host, Melissa D. White, and we're streaming live now to all of our platforms on Facebook Live and YouTube. So just take a minute and share. You guys have been amazing. Our audience is absolutely the best. I call you my Activation Nation. You have totally spread the word. Our subscribers have gone up, and we have some major news to announce before we bring on our featured guest for today's topic, becoming a formidable woman. And look, she's no stranger to the show, Dr. Shekina Farr Moore. And I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this. As a matter of fact, go ahead and have a watch party, share with your friends, share with your community, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. We want to make sure that we show her love, and you want to get your questions ready. If you are a woman who was stuck from blah and you went to fierce and you need the whole nother level of formidable, we're going to tell you what that even means and how you get there. Listen, to this week's episode is right on the heels of Women's Entrepreneurship Day. And what I love about it is we don't just get a day, ladies. I don't know if you knew this, but November is actually Women's Entrepreneurship Month, but we give special attention to it on November 19th every year. And so I would be remiss if I didn't pause as a woman entrepreneur, a female founder, to show some love to my fellow female founders. What's amazing is that there are over 12 million women entrepreneurs nationwide on a path to entrepreneurship. And that number has increasingly spiked during the time of pandemic and COVID, as we're working from home and as we're tapping into our other skills and talents and maybe ideas and dreams that we hadn't gotten around to yet. And we, are out there launching those dreams. So again, as we're on the heels of Women's Entrepreneurship Day, this particular episode, I wanted to make sure we empower and uplift women who have the tenacity and the courage to chase their dreams. I know it's not easy. And if you've been rocking with me for a while, you know I always say do it afraid, but I have not done it alone. And today's guest is one of my very own coaches who helped me get to where I am and beyond. She is truly a fierce, formidable woman on the move. Okay. So you don't want to miss the gems and the tools. Listen, if you love hearing from me, you don't want to miss hearing from her, Dr. Shekina Farr Moore. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Moore. This amazing woman never ceases to amaze me, okay? Dr. Moore is an author, a gender advocate, a master certified coach, and that is not an easy thing to do. She is also the CEO of eReal Marketing Group, an empowerment parent company of Intercontinental Coaching Institute, of which I am a graduate and recipient of her coaching certification. She has recently launched, or should I say, further scaled the Formidable brand. And the last time she was on my show, oh my goodness, is when we were still at the radio show, at the radio station. And at the time, she was going from fierce to formidable with her women's group, which boasts over 10,000 members last time I checked this morning, of women and men who she is coaching to a healthier, better, and formidable lifestyle. It is something truly amazing to see, as she has shared her own personal journey, as she has increased her health, her wellness, and overall healthier, wealthier living. Dr. Moore has touched lives around the globe, and she has not let her foot off the gas one bit, because since starting the group, she started with books, coaching, And the last time I checked, billboards were over the city, and there's formidable mingles popping up. There's so many things this woman is doing to expand her brand. So if you are a mogul in the making, you don't want to miss today's episode of the Activation Hour. Tune in, make sure you share, and you don't want to miss this. Welcome back, Dr. Moore. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It is so exciting to have you. I know we spend time one-on-one together. We've had our chats and our talks and those moments, the what I call that power push that you give me from time to time. And I'm always honored when I get to share you with my community, with the Activation Nation. So again, it's great to have you back. And as I shared in the pre-show, a whole lot has happened in those 3 years.
Absolutely.
A lot. Catch us up a little bit. What are you up to, Dr. Moore?
Melissa. So I'm really excited, first and foremost, to be here. Thank you so much. Activation Hour is impacting so many people, myself included. And I just want to say thank you for the message that you are sharing with the masses, because one of the things I always harp on is levels. And a lot of times we have to see others taking action and being activated in order for us to be ignited to do what we need to do. So just first and foremost, I want to say thank you. As far as what's going on with me, thank you for the eloquent introduction. Actually, I'm really just hitting my groove and taking some ownership for some things that I've been sitting on. And we all know how we get that nudge when it's time to do something, right?
Right.
What Formidable was birthed out of tragedy. And so I had a heart attack in January of 2018. And at that time, like you mentioned, I had been running a group for women where I was carrying them through the journey with my weight loss. And at that point, it was just a simple, I'm transforming. Why don't I share my journey with women and hope they just take this journey with me? And women kept asking and women kept wanting to be a part. And so it just kind of snowballed, right? I didn't set out to do anything formidable. I just want to make that clear, because a lot of times people think, oh, you have like the whole picture. And so you just start running and you're activated. And it's like, no, I didn't have the whole picture. Literally, it's been building and it's been morphing right before my own eyes. And to be honest with you, I'm in a season right now where I'm actually afraid, like you mentioned, but I'm doing it afraid. So yes, we from Formidable, Fierce or Formidable, spin off to the magazine. So in March of last year, we launched Formidable Woman magazine. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing there. I just kind of said, trusting you guys, so let's do this. And so we set out to do it in March of last year. And I tell you, right away, people started raising their hands, wanting to be a part of the vision. I started getting celebrity covers. And to be honest with you, Melissa, that's just something I thought, no way. Starting out, no way. But celebrity covers right away. Our very first cover, we featured Antonique Smith, who was in the Biggie Smalls biopic. And from there, we ended up bringing on other celebrity writers who were introducing us to more people, and people saying, we really love your aesthetic. So this is something I want to say, because I'm not going to make this answer too long. Sometimes it's not that you have to have the big picture. It's just that the small things you do have, make sure you do it very well. Because what really took the Formidable Woman magazine into a spinoff of other things was the excellence. The excellence with which it was executed, the excellence with which we see Activation Hour. Look at the presentation, look at the screen. So excellence will have people coming to lock arms with you to take your vision to another level, but you can't do it by yourself. But you need those individuals who are watching you, even if they're not saying anything, even if you're not getting a bunch of ahas and that a girl, you know, you still have to operate in excellence, because that's how the people will come, lock arms with you, and then take your brand to the next level. And so that's literally how it all started, from Formidable Woman magazine. I said, you know, I'm doing a lot of other things.
Interesting to me is what you just said. I always look at you in a very magnanimous way since the day I met you. And I remember, and I think I've told you this story. I met you, you were hosting an event at the Atlanta Food Bank. And like you came in like this fabulous dress, and you had like these outfit changes. And it was like an awards ceremony you were hosting. I was like, whoever she is, I'm going to work with that woman. Like, you just owned the room. And I just stayed in touch. And for you to say, really, I didn't have this big like plan or thing. I just did the small thing well. Whereas on the outside looking in, I was like, this woman has to have like this master plan or this like secret book of business launches. Cause it was like one thing after another. And then we connected again for the tea. And I was like, she doesn't do anything small. So to hear you say, do the small thing well, it's like, oh.
Yeah. So I moved to the Atlanta market from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I came here not having a clue what I was going to do. I really didn't. And people will begin to tell you what you're good at if you start serving. So when I moved here, I just started serving. And I started noticing that there were not enough free programs for girls where they could get soft skills training. Mm-hmm. And so I said, you know what? Let me research some places that will offer space for free so that I can be that person, mm-hmm. solve a problem in the community. And so at the time I was living up in Marietta and in the Vinings area. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that area, but I started rent, like you can rent space in the libraries for free as long as you're not charging. And so I started having these Saturday trainings and workshops, and people started raising their hand. They said, can I work alongside you? So the genesis of this, the authenticity that you saw, the Twin Star Awards, the Zoom conference, all of those things I was doing for girls, it all started from me offering those free workshops.
Wow.
And it's gone. And so it was never a master plan.
Wow. Wow. I'm so glad you said that, because I really believe to be a formidable woman, you don't necessarily always start out that way. It starts off as small steps of just being a woman who shows up. And so your first book, I have to build up, the momentum. There's a crescendo here, guys, because she didn't start out this way on the billboard. There's always a backstory. And so I remember when I met you, I don't know if the book had just come out, but I remember I bought the book, Blot of Fears. Mm-hmm. And I read it like in a day. I was like, I did. Because I was like, wow, like I could relate to it so much. But then to come behind that as an encore, and I was like, what if there's anything great for Fears? And I remember when I saw the Formidable movement, which is what I'm coining it, and people often take that word out of context. I think it's important to define formidable specifically as it's used for women, because when we're called fierce, it can have a negative connotation. And then when you go to a level formidable, even when I literally looked it up in the dictionary, I Googled formidable, it did not always have the most positive, because strong women, powerful women, even in the dictionary, weren't defined well. But at its core, it's a woman who is what?
Okay, so let me give you a little backstory to formidable before I give you the definition. So I speak French. I don't just speak English. And so I actually came with I started coining formidable, not formidable, or as some call it, formidable. So some stress the for and some stress the last syllable. But it came from a song from a Belgian rapper that I used to listen to named Stromae. And the song is called Formidable. And I was like, formidable. I was like, you know what? That's that next level of fierce. Formidable. And so I came with that concept from like my Belgian roots. I used to live in Belgium. And it's interesting because people always just assume that, you know, I just looked in the dictionary and came up with it. No, I was listening to a song and I was like, yes.
And it sounds so like chic and elegant the way that it's said.
Yes.
Just like who?
And so, but at its core, it's a woman who is a force to be reckoned with. It is a woman who is just don't cross her. And so, yes, you can look at it as a negative, but in business, especially, it's such a positive. And here's why: because we're always taught not to ask. We're always taught not to sell. We're always taught not to be upfront, not to show up. These are learned behaviors. Be a lady, right? Well-behaved women seldom make history. You have to be a formidable woman. You have to be a woman who shows up and who is unabashed and who's unapologetic. And so I said, you know what, that's the next level. Yes, this whole fierce thing is wonderful, but there's levels to this. And so, formidable.
I love that. Well-behaved women seldom make history. Oftentimes, we have to do something so disruptive and so game-changing. And it's crazy to me that here in the year of our Lord 2020, there are still firsts for women, especially Black women and women of color. I mean, what we just witnessed historically with our first, woman of color vice president of our country. And then, like I said, the rising numbers of women entrepreneurs. And interestingly enough, we both live in the Metro Atlanta area for my viewers and listeners all over the world. Here in the Metro Atlanta area, female entrepreneurship is over half of the entrepreneurs in our city. And that just is astounding to me. And so you talked earlier about just getting out there and women locking arms and saying, I want to help, I want to be a part of it. You and I've talked about this privately. Let's have a public conversation about formidable women collaborating. And many women have that sisterhood hurt, and they don't connect well. How do we overcome it? Because you cannot do this without some sort of partnership.
Yeah. So one of the things I highly encourage women to do as you're up leveling is to cultivate an inner circle. There really is no way around it. You have to be a lover and a seeker of quality relationships. And there are signs you can tell when the relationship is quality. Number one, she can handle you in conversation. And so if you ever, we have that sixth sense. If you ever get chills or you get that inkling of animosity or jealousy or intimidation, well, then she doesn't qualify to be a part of your inner circle. There should be no hesitation. There should be no gut feeling that she is feeling some kind of way by your sheer presence. Because see, one of the things we all have is light. And we receive our instruction vertically. Yeah. And normally a woman who's going to be intimidated, she's receiving her instruction horizontally. And so what she's doing is she's looking to the left and the right for information and for her next move. She's not looking to the source. Right? And so your inner circle, in order for her to qualify to be a part of that, she has to be like you, getting her information vertically.
Yeah.
Because when you're receiving your information this way, and you're not looking, like, I'm not comparing myself to you. Because I didn't even you don't even know the instructions I received, right, from my source. I know it doesn't compare, right? We can be doing the exact same thing in the same industry, but doing it a different way because I received my information from the source. So I'm not going to be jealous of you or try to one up you, as people say, right? There will be none of that. Another thing you have to be very mindful of is language. So you ever been around someone that was just so negative? Like everything that comes out of their mouth And it'll shock you. Like, how did you even get this far with that negativity? Remember, everybody didn't get themselves there. Some people literally knock somebody, this is a really good example. Like when it's time for the person, the bride to throw the bouquet, and then you have those like those chicks who are like barrel down, like knocking people over to get to that bouquet, right? Like, that's how some people get their success.
Wow.
That's how some people get those positions. They're unscrupulous. They have no character. And so you can't just look at the person and say, well, they're of this station. Surely they can handle me. That's not true. There are people who are doing better than you from the outside looking in. By all, appearances, they seem to be doing so well for themselves. And then you say to yourself, well, why are they so jealous of me? Why do they act this way toward me? Why do they treat me because they see your light.
Yeah.
They understand that you're getting your instruction vertically, and they're jealous of that. Is the anointing on your life. People can tell where you're going before you do.
Wow.
But when she is a part of your inner circle, she's going to be very open, and she's going to be just as happy because she's been experiencing what you've been experiencing.
Wow. People can tell where you're going before you do. That's deep. We've experienced, some of us, I know I have, people, what they say, ride your coattail, or they're trying to latch on or join, like hitch their wagon to yours. There's so many colloquialisms around that and analogies because it's a real thing. But it's not always like that. So I want to speak to some women, some formidable women out there, about how to lock arms. And you gave two really important keys that I just put in the notes. She can handle you in conversation, meaning she's not trying to out talk you, outshine you, out anything you, but can truly listen, glean, and learn. And you can equally glean and learn. There's an equal exchange. And then second, being mindful of language and just being an energy sucker. That's what, like you were talking about with the complaining. We don't want that. You don't want anybody taking that energy from you. So I want to talk about the pace of women entrepreneurship. You're not just a woman on the move. You pull other women with you who are in position to do so. So why is it you think women's entrepreneurship is at the rapid pace that it is now? I mentioned about the statistics of entrepreneurship growing in the pandemic. Why do you think that is?
Why do I think entrepreneurship is so rampant?
Well, now during the pandemic, why do you think women's entrepreneurship is growing faster now? And you're especially one of those people in position to help women get it done faster. Why do you think that's growing, and what do women need to do to get this done now while we're in this season?
Well, there's several reasons. One, just the information is out there, like we're more knowledgeable now than we've ever been. I remember in 2008 when I first launched out and I decided I was going to go into entrepreneurship, free enterprise. There just wasn't as much information out there. I can imagine starting, now and being able to go back and everything's available like it is now. So that's one thing. You think about social media and just how much faster things are shared, and which is why you also have the copy spirit out there, right? Mm-hmm. Just how much, people are exposed to one. But I think specifically during this pandemic, we've seen so much, right? From the injustices to the leadership of the country to the leadership in our own backyards. And I think we're starting to realize, men have run things for so long, and women, we really need to have a different kind of leadership, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you raise your hand to be an entrepreneur, you're making a bold statement, an economic statement. You're making a statement that can change legacy, right? And can change the way that you're viewed, and then women as a whole are viewed simply by stepping out. And I think it's just a bigger part of this movement of women who are just being unapologetic and stepping up. I really do. I think it also stems from mentors. I personally have had some amazing mentors, both personal and from afar. When Michelle Obama stepped on the scene, I know for us women of color. It was very impactful to see a woman so poised, who owned her womanhood, but who would make statements such as, because I remember she got asked in an interview, weren't you intimidated being in a room of all these, these successful men with all these titles? And she was like, actually, I discovered soon that they weren't that smart. They really weren't that smart.
I read that statement and I was like, wow, I've been in that before. Guys, no shade. I mean, not all of you, some of you, not all of you. But it's true, male or female. Oftentimes, once you're sitting at that table and you observe long enough, you're like, not only do I deserve to be here, I can own this table.
And then there's this other reason, Melissa, that a lot of women in leadership don't want to talk about.
Okay.
And it's that sometimes women are waiting for someone to come rescue them. And it doesn't happen. You said, So, like, you're literally, and I just wrote a lengthy article about this in the new issue of Formidable Woman magazine, where we're literally waiting for that man on the white horse to come rescue us and save us. Sometimes you think it's going to be your husband, like you even marry the guy. Sometimes it's your boyfriend or someone you're just waiting for, right? Like, he's going to rescue me. And then when he doesn't come, you're disillusioned, right? And you're like, what now? Well, guess what you do? You step up to the plate. I guess I might as well launch out and be great. Now, that sounds far-fetched, but I kid you not. You asked about formidable, successful women. I have had so many conversations with successful women waiting for someone to come save them. They're tired. Okay? So, I'm here to tell you, no one is coming to rescue you. So if you have a burning something in your belly, launch out and do it, because you will be more likely to meet your person operating and tending to your garden than playing small. And no, you don't have to do that. No one's coming to save you.
No one's coming to save you. Especially, I mean, you mentioned getting your instructions vertically from God, right? And that really strikes and resonates, because when we say no one's coming to save you, oftentimes we'll pray, God, I need. And I truly believe he's looking back at us like, but I gave you gifts. I gave you ideas. I gave you instructions. And you're looking for, well, what's the next thing to do? And oftentimes the next thing is really the last thing that you didn't do.
Yes, ma'am. You on it. You're on it.
Is the last thing that you did not do. But formidable women follow instructions of the Father, and we execute. We don't just think, we execute well. And like you said, in excellence, repeatedly. So that now the name of a formidable woman is synonymous with what? Excellence.
Right, which is not to be mistaken with perfection.
Talk
about. A lot of times, we think we have to be perfect. No, you don't have to be perfect. You're not always going to make perfect decisions. You're not always going to look perfect. You're not always going to do things in the perfect time. Perfect. And perfection is so boring anyway. But excellence just says that, you show up in a way that others can respect and follow. You show up in a way that's consistent. You show up in a way that provides a track record for you and your company. You lead others, right, to the fountain. Can they have a sip of water? Or is it only you can drink out of that well? Okay. So it's about the consistency. It's about having systems in place. It's about putting your best foot forward, but allowing room for error, allowing room for mistakes. You know, I think about my youngest son and just how he sprouted up. When I first moved to Atlanta, he was like 9 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And I had received this prophecy about how my business would grow as my son grew prior to moving to Atlanta. Well, he's going to turn 9 next month.
Wow.
And I think about the clothes that he was wearing as a 9-month-old baby. Mm-hmm. And now he's about to turn 9 years old. Wouldn't it be so unrealistic for me to think that my 9-year-old son would still be able to fit his 9-month-old clothes? Do we not expect growth? Do we not expect to mature, not only in the faith, but in our businesses? Do we not expect to, have wear and tear on our clothes as we wear them and then grow out of them? So as you're growing in your business as a formidable woman, you're literally every single day shedding old wineskin.
Wow.
And so anything you conceptualized yesterday may not even be your reality today. Any limitations you have put on yourself when you first started your journey, God has already blown them out of the water, because he never showed you the entire picture. He showed you just enough so that you won't start shaking in the knees and run away.
That's so true. That's so true. That's so true. That's so true. He knows us so well. He's like, okay, I want you to get up and go down the street. And you're like, okay, then what? Then turn left. All right. Then turn right. And the whole time you're like, I don't even want to do this, but I'm going to do it because this doesn't make sense. And it won't, and instructions never make sense. But that's a whole thing about obedience. So, one of the things I always wanted to, we touched on this again. This is, I want to let people into our conversations a bit about oftentimes as formidable women, we have to make some tough decisions, and it's not to harden ourselves or to come across mean or it's for lack of a better reference. You think about like Devil Wears Prada, right? That all women are just like this character in business, and why she ain't smiling, why she acting like this or acting like that word that I won't say, you know what I'm saying? Yes. But there are times when we are required to be stern and put our foot down and to negotiate with the best of them, to make decisions with the best of them. And it does bring on a certain level of respect. Can you give an example of maybe a time you've had to do that or help women who are struggling with asserting themselves in that space of business?
Yeah, so as women, we do often have to code switch. And I'll never forget, I read this book by Dr. Lois Frankel called Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. One of my all-time favorite books.
You're the reason I read that book. And I was just like, every paragraph, I was like, oh, that's me.
It's very relatable. She uses a lot of analogies where you can really follow and you can see yourself in them, right? But she makes a really clear distinction between being nice and being kind. Mm-hmm. And we've been taught to be nice. Oh, it's okay. You're going to get paid less money than Joe because you're being nice. You're not asking for what you want. That's not cool. Mm-hmm. You have to learn to be kind, where you treat people with respect, yet you're firm. Nice is, I'm so sorry. You ever met people who say, I'm sorry all the time? They're sorry for this. They're sorry for that. They're sorry for this. Like, stop saying you're sorry. Mm-hmm. Just say, thank you. Even if you're late, don't say, I'm so sorry I'm late. No. Thank you for your patience, is what you say. Mm-hmm. You don't say, I'm so sorry you had to put up with me. No. You say, thank you for your patience. Do you hear the difference?
Very different.
Very different, right? And so I'm being kind when I say to you, thank you for your patience, but please don't get it twisted. I am not apologizing.
There is a difference to the person receiving it, but it's a difference inside of you too, and your level of confidence when you say it.
Absolutely. And so I've been in this situation a lot of times because I have to close. I'm a closer. And so when I pitch what I need to pitch, then I shut up. What most women do is they keep talking, almost as if they're apologizing. That's the part where you close your mouth. You've said your piece, what you have to offer, what your terms are, the length of time. Let's just say a workshop. Let's just say you're contracting with, a governmental agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
You made your pitch. You sent them your speaker sheet or your, workshop protocol. How many attendees can be a part of this? If you have like a product or like a book or something, do you require a certain number of pre-sales before you will show up? I do. Do you have certain requirements? Like, do you fly first class? Is that your requirement? Because if you just say travel, that can mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
You might be back there and coach, snuggle between two bears. What does that mean? Do you require a 4-star hotel, or are you okay with Motel 8? You can't just say travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're clear, and when you have things kind of written out so that you don't have to say, it makes it so much easier, right?
Right.
Now, I'll take it down to a smaller scale. Let's talk about people just wanting to pick your brain, because this is a biggie. When you're first starting out, let's say you're a coach, you're a consultant, or you're good at whatever it is you do. Let me tell you something. In order for you to get good at doing what you do and getting it down to a science where you can do it in 30 minutes, that took you 10 years to get that good.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're putting a price tag to, I just want to sit down, do lunch with you. Can I buy you lunch? No, you can't. So what you're basically saying is, can I pay you $15 or can I pay you $30 to get 10 years worth of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
10 years worth of experience from you? Please. That's an insult. But you know what's a greater insult? When you don't have your stuff together, right? So when a person wants to do a consultation with me, when a person wants to do coaching with me, when a person wants to have the VIP experience, work one-on-one, Shekina shows up in the flesh, guess what? As soon as they ask, I'm not going, well, tell me more about Jenna, I'm not asking you anything else. I'm sending you that invoice and that speaker sheet. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I close my mouth. I'm quiet because it's not negotiable.
Mm.
And you get in trouble when you start being nice and you say, well, I can discount you because I know you so-and-so's sister, and I can discount you because, we go way back, girl. No, that's the part where you're being nice and you're not separating your brand from your personhood.
Mm.
So having things in order.
Oftentimes they're not even looking for a discount. It's just our insecurity.
That's true. Nobody even asked you for the discount. You're offering it because you're doing this instead of being quiet. So you pitch what you need to pitch. You say what you need to say, and then you get silent. Because here's the thing. They already knew they wanted you when they contacted you. Your job is to close. Close. And I'll never forget this. I was at a speaking event early on for this governmental agency in North Carolina, and they paid me to speak, and I got a check for $3,000. $3,000. And I thought I was doing something. They paid for my travel, my flight, paid for my hotel, and then put me a $3,000 check. You couldn't tell me anything. Until I found out that the next speaker got a $10,000 check for doing the exact same 45 minutes.
Ouch. So here's the question. What's the difference between you and that person?
Nothing.
In that moment?
Nothing. The difference was I didn't ask.
Bingo. Mm-hmm.
And so that was a lesson for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my favorite books, you mentioned one about, the nice girls, but also Never Split the Difference, talks about negotiating is absolutely, it is emotional. You just have to understand what emotion, what place the other person is coming from. And oftentimes, especially when you talk about doing business on a level where it's B2B and with contracts, with businesses, I mean, with companies, they're not expecting you to come for free. Honestly, like they have budgets, they have line items, it's set aside. Oftentimes it's a mindset issue. It's a mindset issue where we know that we're worth it when we come to the table. I know you and I, you worked very much, and I mentioned this at the beginning of our interview, as you as my coach, we worked on that mindset thing. It's like, hey, this is who you are. These are your credentials. This is the time you spent. How much have you sat with me? How much did you pay to work with me? I'm like, I know. And it wasn't until I just let the paper talk. Like you said, have the contract ready, have the invoice ready. And they're like, hey, I want to work with you. Great. Here's the quote. Great. Here's the contract. A lot of times you say, here's the contract. And let me know you want the deposit to hold the date. And you'll be surprised. And but also, formidable women build solid relationships. What are some relationships that were required for you? Because I saw the progression of your relationships elevating. And when I say elevating, you start walking in different rooms and different circles. We've talked about that. Explain how your relationships has to elevate as a formidable woman.
So one of the things I'm really good at, besides closing, is confidentiality. And so no one would know you were my client unless you told them that. One of the things I don't like is when I hire someone to do a job for me, and then they're spreading the news before I even get a chance to spread the news, or they're they're marketing it before I get a chance to even reveal it. I think that says something, and I've never liked that, and it's something I don't do with my own clients. I have clients who pay me a lot of money to help them move from one level to another level. Accountability. I don't need to then focus on, oh, guess what I helped my client do? Oh, look what I helped my client become. Because now and this is the way I think, I'm taking the focus off of the client and I'm putting it on me. And the mistake in relationships that a lot of people do is they forget that the gift was given to you. It's not even yours to try to get glory for. It came from here. And here's the thing, you make more money when you're quiet than you do when you're loud. The best kind of money is quiet
money.
And I tell people, I'm very much underestimated, and I love it, because while everybody else is fishing for likes, I'm fishing to close. People will come right into my inbox or shoot me an email after I have posted something that nobody liked every single time, which is why you cannot be ashamed or silent or I'm not going to put it out there. No, you have to share your services, but focus on your solutions, the problems you solve, not the product. So when you're building relationships and you're connecting, people are watching that. And they will come to you. You don't even have to seek out the relationships. People are watching how you flow, and what they're saying to themselves is this somebody I want to connect with? Here's some things I've observed about you, Melissa. Very professional, very convicted, very knowledgeable, very just put together. I love a woman who wears red lipstick. I love a woman who has white teeth. Mm-hmm. I love a woman who has clear skin. I love a woman who has like fierce out, like just rocks it though, right? You rock it. You don't just wear outfits. Like some people, the outfits wear them.
You know, with that, and I'm honestly, from a sincere place, I thank you for that, and I do that not considering the person. I do it to be at my best, so that I present myself as the best. And I think what you did though, I want to bring light to that, is you're very clear of the persona, the people you want to work with. And we touched on that last week in our episode, where it is nothing wrong with having a very clear picture of who you do and don't want to work with. That way you'll know your people when they show up, and then you can evaluate your yeses and your nos. And I believe Formidable Women do that too. You know, very quickly, you give a slow yes and a quick no.
And your price points dictate those relationships as well, because there are certain conversations I don't have to have with my clients. You know, when you're paying me $1,000 a month to meet with you for 45 minutes, I don't have to beg you to do your assignments. I don't have to beg you to reach out to that executive I asked you to reach out to. It's a mindset. And so when you talk about relationships, when you want those elevated relationships, right? Mm-hmm. You have to price yourself accordingly. Like if you're charging $99 for a coaching session or $99 a month, I see that. $99 a month. Mm-hmm. Well, there are certain things you're going to have to deal with. And if that's your audience, that's okay. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But understand that mindset you will have to deal with. There will be some barriers that you will have to overcome with those clients because of the price point. So you're right. You do have to keep in mind the type of relationship that you are looking to foster. And you need to price yourself accordingly, not just your services, your products as well. They need to be quality products. Like if you're dealing with a Melissa, I'm gonna tell you right now, if your lipstick peeling and you know, I haven't even been. Look, she hasn't worn it for an hour and it's already peeling. Yeah.
And I think you know, I cannot share one of my favorite lessons that I've learned from you as my coach. I remember, so you know, we launched Activation Coaching International, and you know, it's our coaching certification program for executive coaches, leadership coaches, and you know, it was literally, I don't even know, where we at the top of the pandemic. It was just kind of some talk about it. We hadn't completely shut down just yet. It was in February, and I said, I'm on a mission. I need this certification for a conference I got coming up. Like I had goals, right? And we were on it. But there was this fear about the price point. And you looked me square in my eye and you said, everybody is not broke. As a matter of fact, you probably said everybody ain't broke. Like, let me just make it clear. Because what happens sometimes is we tend to look at the world through our own filter and what our current situation is, not realizing that your people are not on your level. They could be above your level. So you have to bring your thinking up to where they are. And even in a pandemic, there's a population of people who are still spending money, who have the income. Most millionaires in my circle spend most of their money on two things, and that's their health and wellness and their personal development. That's where majority of their money goes, and investments, of course. Not flashy things. They look at themselves as an enterprise and as a business. Formidable Women see themselves as the package, as the prize. When I show up to speak or do whatever, and that's one of the things you taught me. Like they're investing in you, not just the service, all of you. So everybody ain't broke.
No, I mean, a lot of people, they want to do what you do, but they're not willing to go through what you have gone through. You know, I had a yard sale when I first started. I was like, how am I going to raise this money? I had a yard sale, items that I was not using that other people wanted out there on the lawn. You know, this new dating app I'm an app developer. Can you believe it?
Oh my God. Okay. So you got to tell the people about, I looked up, see, this is what happens when you have inside information. I've been sitting on that and I was like, when's she going to launch it? When's she going to launch it? And when I saw it, I like screamed. I was like, yeah, and I saw the app. So please tell Activation Nation, tell our audience about the app and everything else that's on the horizon for the Formidable brand.
Absolutely. So Formidable Mingles is the name of the app. It is a dating app for formidable men and women who want to connect to make power couples and find that love. And we're really excited. We're working out the kinks with the app. We're about to do beta testing. We're a little behind schedule on that, but it's all good because when it comes out, we want to make sure it's amazing, right? We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for excellence. And so my team has been working on that. But let me tell you real quick, the faith, and this is the thing, like when you have enough faith for the $1,000 thing and you step out and do it, then God's going to promote you and then you'll have faith for the $10,000 thing. And then when you have faith for the $10,000 thing, he'll promote you and you'll have faith for the $25,000 thing. And then the $30,000 thing. And then and so on and so forth. And so your level of faith will open those doors for you. But you have to step out. It takes action, not just thinking it, not willing it. No, you have to actually move. And here's the thing. I can't even tell you it may be premature for me to tell you my situation, but the fact that I paid this app in a couple of months, I'm not talking about, it was just a couple of $1,000. No, baby. No.
It's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. This isn't your build the app in a day. It's very.
My photo shoots are $3,000. It was not one of those type of bills. It was a serious bill. You hear me? Like I could have done some major things with that money. But I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna do this. I didn't have the money when I signed the contract. I didn't have the money, but I signed it anyway. That's the part people need to understand. Mm-hmm. It's not until you sign the contract
the faith
that he releases the resources. Mm-hmm. As long as you're thinking about doing it, as long as you're contemplating, he's not releasing anything. He's not sending any people to help you. As long as you're thinking about starting your magazine, guess what? He's not going to send anybody because you ain't done nothing. You have not written one article on this one magazine. That's the thing. You have to step out and start. And people ask me, how do you start this? Hey, I just started. And then God sent me people. That's how it works. So yes, Formidable Mingles. Formidable Mingles is going to be available on what do you call the two platforms?
And all your app stores.
App store. I gotta get this stuff down. I'm an app developer now, y'all.
Well, we're going to be promoting it heavy. Definitely, you're a dear friend of the show. So if you guys are our subscriber, you'll find out about Formidable Mingles. And we can't forget Formidable Magazine.
Yes.
It is just amazing. I'll pop it up here for you guys to see with the lovely Kaylin Carr on the cover. As we're wrapping up the episode here, there are a lot of hands at play to make this magazine possible. And I'm honored because to know the circle of women who put the artwork, the branding, the creative, all of that together. You want to talk about a little bit about the magazine?
Yes, I have the most amazing team that just works so hard to curate the best articles. Shout out to Camden Lane, my graphics, and shout out to Gracia Rich and Jules Labali and Tashana Chisholm and everyone who just puts in work.
Wow. So guys, make sure you check out Formidable Magazine, the Formidable brands. I dropped the comment. I'm going to leave your link below. Where can they follow you on social media, Dr. Shekina?
Okay, so guys, IG, Formidable Woman Mag, Facebook, Formidable Woman Mag.
Easy enough. Formidable Woman Mag. Guys, make sure you go out and support. I'm all for women's entrepreneurship year round. We need just a whole year. I coined 2021 the year of the entrepreneur woman, the formidable woman. So as we're getting ready for the new year, any final advice or thought to if for women who've been sitting in this season, it's like, I don't know, God, I think I'm ready and I don't know. And they just there's a formidable woman in them that's waiting to leap and jump out. What maybe last bit of advice would you give them?
You have to just start. There will never be a perfect time. You'll never be ready. I wasn't ready to have a baby. You have to just start. Because if you wait on ready will never come. Just start.
If you wait on ready will never come. Guys, I can't think of a better way to wrap this up. Formidable women are ready. Formidable women have a power circle. Formidable women are on the move and stepping into their greatness. Dr. Shekina Farr Moore, thank you so much for always answering the call to support and be a part of the Activation Hour. Guys, make sure you get your copy, the latest issue of Formidable Magazine, formidablemag.com. Follow Dr. Moore. Check out Formidable Mingles if you're trying to hook up and find your power match for 2021. And you can learn more by subscribing to the Activation Hour podcast email list because I share all of my bonus notes. Yes, you get my note from our conversation today, as well as some of the behind the scene tips of how to start your own live stream show. Yes, you have a voice. I'm ready to activate your voice. Finally, if you want to join our community, join the Activation Nation Facebook group with coaches, speakers, and people globally sharing power impact for purpose at work and in the world. Make sure you subscribe. Don't be stingy with this information. If you want more content like this, leave me a review and I'll be sure to bring you greatness as we wrap up season 2 and get ready for season 3. I am looking for guests for season 3, so make sure you go to the activationhour.com, fill out our guest form to be featured in 2021. I'm your girl, Melissa D, joined by Dr. Shekina Farr Moore, and we'll see you and stay activated. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. Bye.